This video is going to discuss the 4 different types of tissue that are present in the human body. And so the study of tissues is known as histology. But what is a tissue? A tissue is defined as a group of similar cells that work together to perform a specific function. So as you can see, we have 4 major types of tissues in the body. We have epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous tissue. And so today we're going to be looking at where are these different types of tissues located, and then also an overall function for this group of tissue. So let's go ahead and start with epithelial. So epithelial, in terms of location, these are typically found covering your body surface. So one major example that you can think of is the skin. And so they're going to cover your body surfaces, and they also line your body cavities and organs. They also make up your glands. So now in terms of functions, so why do we typically have epithelial tissue in our body? So the answer is pretty simple. If you think of your body surface, it has to be covered, such as your skin. What is the main purpose? The main purpose is to protect you. So one of the really important functions of epithelial tissue is protection. Another important function is going to be secretion. So glands are made up of epithelial tissue, and you know that they are going to secrete hormones to maintain homeostasis throughout your body. We also have another function that is absorption. So sometimes your body needs to absorb nutrients, for example. And so we have epithelial tissue lining your digestive organs, such as your intestines, specializing in absorbing nutrients for your body. And then we also have sensation as an important function because epithelial tissue has specialized structures that are going to detect stimuli and send sensation throughout the body to be interpreted and responded to. Some characteristics about epithelial tissue is that they are avascular, meaning that they are without blood vessels. And they also exhibit a high rate of mitosis, so high mitotic activity. And this means that they can repair themselves. So think of if you have some sort of skin, let's say injury, your skin after a certain period of time is going to start to repair itself. And this is due to the high mitotic activity that is present in your epithelial tissue. So now let's move on to our second type of tissue that we have in the body, and this is our connective tissue. So if we wanted to talk about where it is located, this is actually a very widely distributed tissue in the body. And so you're going to find it all over your body. For example, bone is considered connective tissue. So is cartilage. We also have adipose tissue, so fatty tissue. Also, blood is considered a type of connective tissue, and we also have fibrous tissue. And so as you can see, you're going to find connective tissue all throughout the body. But why do we have it? So what is the main function? Well, as the word connective implies, this is really important for connecting organs together. So they're going to be important for support and binding of organs. So to start, we're going to have binding of organs. And so if you think of your tendons that join muscles to bones, or your ligaments that join bones to other bones. So this is an example of where you'd find connective tissue and how they can bind organs together. Another example is, or function is, support. So cartilage functions to support your body So does your skeletal system, so your bone. A third function is movement, also provided to you by your bones. Storage, for example, adipose or fatty tissue is a really good fuel reserve. Transport. If you think of your blood specializes in transporting all kinds of substances. Not only does it transport oxygen and carbon dioxide, but it also transports hormones, uh, gases, proteins. All of these substances can be transported throughout your blood. And then we also have a really important function for connective tissue, and that is protection. So it's going to offer immune protection. Part of your blood, your white blood cells specifically, are really important in your immune system. And so they're going to help protect your body against any foreign invaders. And we also have physical protection afforded to you by your connective tissue. And once again, we see your bones really playing a big role in that. One example would be your skull that protects your brain. Your rib cage is going to protect your heart and your lungs. And so these are the functions of the connective tissue. Next up, let's talk about our muscular tissue. So where is your muscular tissue located? Well, we have 3 types of muscle tissue in our body. And so the location depends on which type of muscle are we discussing. We have cardiac muscle. So location is going to be the heart. We also have skeletal muscle. And so this location is going to be anywhere where you can think of your skeletal muscles such as biceps, triceps, quadriceps. So these are going to be attached to your bones. And then our third type of muscle tissue is our smooth muscle. And this smooth muscle is going to line, again, organs or cavities, so body cavities and hollow tubes. And so it's going to be found, for example, lining your digestive tract, reproductive, urinary, even respiratory. And you'll also have smooth muscles lining your blood vessels. So hollow organs and structures can be lined by smooth muscle. And so here comes the question, well, why do we have these types of muscle tissue? So in terms of cardiac, the answer should be pretty obvious as to why we have a heart, and that is to pump your blood. Right? So the first function would be to pump blood, and that is in the case of cardiac. For skeletal muscle, this helps with locomotion, so movement, as well as heat production. Via shivering, so whenever you're cold and you shiver, these are your skeletal muscles contracting to produce heat in order to raise your body temperature. So these are afforded to you by skeletal muscle. And then for smooth muscle, the function is to propel substances through those hollow tubes. Okay. So if you think of your smooth muscle lining your digestive system, so the contraction of the smooth muscle is going to move and propel food through the digestive tract. If you think of your blood vessels, sometimes they're going to contract or relax depending on how the flow of blood is going to move. So they're going to contract in order to squeeze your blood vessel and hence increase blood pressure or relax. Okay. And finally, we have our nervous tissue. So nervous tissue, where is it located? So we have this in our brain, in our spinal cord, and then in our nerves that run throughout our bodies and extremities. And so why do we have it? So first off, in order to understand why we have nervous tissue, it's important to know that we have two types of cells that make up your nervous tissue. We have our neurons and we have our neuroglia, or glial cells. And so the neurons are those specialized cells that are going to detect stimuli and respond quickly. So they're going to detect stimuli and respond quickly. And the neuroglial are there for protection and support of the neurons. Okay. So why do we have nervous tissue? Why is this so important? So nervous tissue is really important because it communicates by means of generating electrical and chemical signals. So by generating electrical signals. And the main function here is responsiveness. All right, so your nervous tissue is going to allow you to respond to your environment, and that is your internal as well as your external environment. Monitor those changes and then respond whenever necessary. And so we'll talk more about these different types of tissues and then their characteristics and then more specific examples throughout our class.